Everyone to stand and remain for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Tonight's invocation is being offered by Council Member Robert Duvall.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I appreciate this opportunity to open up our first meeting of 2015 in prayer. Dear God, bring us together. Please help us and guide us in our actions tonight and every night as we go forward in this council. Please protect all of those that are here, all of their families, all those that come before us. Guide us in doing the right thing for this city, for this great state, and for this great country. Especially in my area, remember the La Matina family as they have lost one of their own, and bring them comfort and rest and assurance that the community is with them. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
I pledge
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Without objection, we'll suspend the calling of the roll and ask the clerk to record the names of the members present throughout the meeting. Is there a motion to adopt the minutes of our meeting on December the 16th? We have a motion and a second. Without objection, the minutes will stand approved as written. Madam Clerk, are there any messages from the mayor?
There are no messages from the mayor.
Thank you. We're now at the point on our agenda for elections and confirmations. Councilmember Stein.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. In the absence of Chairman Harmon, we have 4 recommendations this evening. The first is for the Metro Arts Commission. The committee recommends the appointment of Ms. Stephanie Pruitt, 7-4, none against, and I move her approval.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. Councilman Stein.
A first-time appointee to the Alarm Appeals Board, Mr. Gregory Pratchett, was recommended by the committee 7-4, none against, and I move his approval.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. Councilman Stein.
To the Convention Center Authority, a first-time appointment of Mr. Randy Goodman was recommended by the committee 7-4, none against, and I move his approval.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. Councilman Stein.
And there is a companion resolution that I believe is on the consent agenda that formally creates that appointment. To a first-time appointment to the Board of Fair Commissioners was recommended, Mr. Eric Malo was recommended by the committee 7-4, 1 against, and I move his approval.
We have a motion and a second. Councilman Dominic.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. While I appreciate an individual's willingness to serve our city, it has come to light recently of the proposed nominee's public statements regarding the fairground property. And I would like to read into the record 2 portions of his statement. I won't do the whole thing, but I'll quote Eric Malo, stated before this body January 18, 2011, a polluting racetrack can be demolished, and quote, empty parking lots and derelict structures can be replaced with complete streets that support pedestrians and bicyclists as well as public transportation and higher density mixed-use buildings. My challenge is I've been placed in a position on this body to appoint somebody to a management position overseeing a property belonging to the city of Nashville. That individual has made public statements indicating a desire to demolish portions of that property, and even this evening during committee session, that the various portions of the property that are protected by our charter now and must remain are not in fact unified within the property and can be moved. I cannot support this. I am told by legal staff that I cannot make a motion to withdraw And so I am asking that this be voted down.
Councilmember Duvall.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I attended the Rules Committee meeting with this individual. I did not get an opportunity to speak with him before the meeting. What he said is public record. There's videotape of what went on in 2011. What surprises me is we have roughly 660,000 people in Davidson County. 72% of those folks voted to keep the fairgrounds. And somehow we pick an individual that is publicly stated in the past, I'll give them that, it was in the past, that they would just assume the fairgrounds go away and they want it closed, and basically all three legs of the stool be torn down. Surely to goodness we can find someone in all of those wonderful people that are in Davidson County that are pro-support of the fairgrounds, that have a history of being in support of the fairgrounds and not a history of controversy. That's what this specific candidate brings, is more controversy than anything else. If you can't vote against this nomination, then I highly, highly encourage you to abstain and not vote for this individual. Thank you.
Councilmember Moore.
Vice Mayor, I rise in support of Mr. Melo's nomination. Mr. Melo's nomination is one voice, one vote on this committee, on the Fair Board. And what he brings to this Fair Board is his history of trying to say what is fair, what's not fair, the economic part of it, and that's where we are in this current state. So again, I rise in support of, and I hope that my colleagues will see that Mr. Melo is about supporting what the fairground does in this current state. Whatever history there was, there's a history. We all got history, but the main emphasis that Mr. Melo wants to serve on this board, and I commend him for being here this evening to do just that. Thank you.
Councilmember Tenpenny.
Thank you, Chair. I have no doubt that Mr. Milo wants to serve on this board. I have no doubt about that at all. Does he have the best interest for the fairground property? No, he does not. I had a chance to talk with Mr. Milo on the telephone and in person last night. A couple of things. When I asked him about the organizations that were against the fairgrounds and what was his role and action with these groups, he kind of went around the side with me. He wasn't real honest with me on this. I wake up this morning and I get a phone call. Lo and behold, there's a video with him, telling that he wants to destroy the racetrack, that he wants to destroy the buildings down at the fairgrounds. This fight's been going on a long time. I can't understand why we would put a conflict of interest nominee on the board of the fairgrounds. You would think that we would put someone on that fairgrounds board that has small business in mind, that really cares and is heartfelt about the property and would really want to see that property come up. As you can tell, there is a divisiveness in this nominee. There's a lot of these council members that don't think that he should be on the board of the fairgrounds. Just look at our emails today. Hundreds of emails saying, no, we do not want this guy on the fair board. Surely to goodness, we got somebody here in Nashville, Tennessee that grew up here that would love to serve on that board. We've got somebody that's not been here for 6 years, 7 years. Why can't we get somebody that's from our city, someone that cares about it diligently and wants to help that? I've got a thumb drive right now with a video on it. I'd like to put it I'd like to hand it to Sergeant of Arms. I would really like for this to be shown tonight if we could sell our council members so they could just see exactly what we're talking about and what the opposition is and why we think this is a conflict of interest. So I'd like to...
Sergeant at Arms, would you enter that, bring that for the record, please?
I can tell you this, 70 to 80% of Davidson County residents have spoken, and they spoke really loud about this property, whether you're for it or against. Let's put somebody in there, like I said, that really wants to lift this place up. someone that has a little bit more knowledge than some of the nominees we have. I asked what experience Eric had. There's no experience there. So I'm asking my colleagues tonight, if you can't vote no, please abstain. This is not a good nominee. And thank you for letting me share.
Councilmember Stein.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. Having chaired the Rules Committee and had not met Mr. Malo before, I was impressed both with his sincerity and frankly his patience and the respect that he treated all of us. Indeed, this appointment seems to me he's being held accountable for statements he made prior to the referenda. He acknowledged fully that the referenda changed both the political situation and his situation. I think back to members of this body that may have opposed other projects like the convention center or things, and some years later their position is that they didn't vote for it then, but they certainly hope it succeeds. Certainly in all of Mr. Malo's comments today, he talked about hoping the fairground succeeds. And I would think that with his interest in the neighborhood, as he said repeatedly, he will be the strongest advocate that could possibly be put on this body to advocate for improvements to it, because he repeatedly said that it's an integral part of the neighborhood, and indeed that his thinking had changed since the referenda, and he acknowledged that. So I would say that all of us, I think, have respect for divergence of opinion. And I think fearing one voice out of 5 that lives in the neighborhood, that has a vested interest in the improvement of that property, is not inappropriate. And I think that this gentleman who's lived in our community since 2000 brings to this a thoughtfulness and a vested interest, not a conflicted interest, in improving the fairgrounds property. And keep in mind, under the rules for this vote, that not voting is a no vote. So it takes 21 affirmative votes does it not, Mr. Cooper? It takes 21 affirmative votes to approve someone. So don't be misconstrued that you're sitting on the sidelines if you don't vote. You either vote yes, or you vote no, or you don't vote, and if you don't vote, you're voting no. Thank you, Madam Vice Chair.
Councilmember Tenpenny.
I'm done. Never mind.
Okay, we will have a machine vote. Councilman Hunt, you wish to speak? Okay. Madam Clerk, please close the machine and tally the vote.
I have 19 for, 17 against, and 3 abstentions.
The motion fails. When I call your name, please stand. Stephanie Pruitt, Gregory Pratchett, and Randy Goodman. On behalf of the entire Metropolitan Council, thank you so much for your willingness to serve our great city and to volunteer your time and expertise. Thank you very much. Next on our agenda are resolutions on public hearing. The first one is RS 2015-1335. It exempts smoking thighs located at 611 Wedgwood Avenue from the minimum distance requirement for obtaining a beer permit. Councilmember Moore.
I move to open the public hearing.
Thank you. Please raise your hand if you're in support. Thank you. Please raise your hand if you're in opposition. Anyone in support wishing to speak, please line up at the lectern. You will need to state your name and address, please. Try again. Sorry.
My name is Matthew Carney. I'm the owner of Smokin' Thighs at 611 Wedgwood Avenue. What I have here are some copies of some documentation where we went around to the neighborhood. I visited over 131 homes within that neighborhood, surrounding our restaurant that we have there off of Wedgwood. In there, I went into a lot of homes, talked to a lot of different individuals. Out of everybody that I visited, there were over 70 individuals that I talked to, and I got support from them. I've got a signature signing with their address stating that they support us obtaining a beer permit at our location. In addition to that, I also have documentation just talking to different individuals that have come into the restaurant that are other people in the neighborhood. Some of them are not in the neighborhood, but I've got over 210 signatures from those individuals also. Council Moore held 2 community meetings. During those community meetings, we had different discussions over what to be done, what I needed to do. Visiting the neighborhood was one of those, and I went out and I visited those homes just like we had discussed. Also, in addition to that, it was asked that I go talk to the school. I went and talked to the school. Also included inside this documentation is a letter stating back from the principal that he doesn't necessarily oppose us getting a license, but he does say that it is okay inside there, that our email, that it is okay for us to go ahead and move forward in obtaining a license.
Are those copies for the record?
These are copies for the record, please.
Thank you.
In addition to the copies, I've been operating the business for over 4 months now. We currently have a valid liquor license and have been operating with a valid liquor license with no problems, no issues, no incidences, and I have a lot of neighborhood support behind that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi. Austin Ray, 2110B Eastwood Avenue, 37212. I've known Mr. Carney for a long time. I think you can tell that he's left no stone unturned in this quest for a beer permit. Matt took I own a residential home and a business within a mile of this location, and I've actually held a beer permit at my business for 7 years. I know Matt, he's going to be a great steward of this location. He took a dilapidated building and turned it into an asset to the neighborhood. He is very diligent. He has his eyes on the business at all times, and I'm here in support of this exemption. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Lester Smith, 6 Breckenridge, Nashville, 37215. I'm here in support of Mr. Carney as well. I own an office building that is nearby that I renovated recently and moved my business into on Franklin Pike. What Mr. Carney has done with his property is fantastic. As was mentioned before, it was a blighted property, and he's done a beautiful job there. I eat there frequently. It seems to me a disservice to the neighborhood to not have a beer permit at that location, given that there is a liquor license. He serves high gravity beers under his liquor license there. And I know I personally have, I'll get that when I would prefer a beer with a lower alcohol content. I just don't think it serves anyone to not allow him to serve beer instead of beers with much higher alcohol content. So that's the reason that I support this exemption. Thank you.
Thank you.
Evening. I'm Laura Flaherty. I live at 424 Wingrove Street, 37203. I live in my home in Wedgwood, Houston, not far from Smoke and Thighs. I can speak for many of us in the neighborhood that we were so excited that something that would serve the community so well has finally went into a building that has been broken down, empty, vacant, really a hazard to the neighborhood for many, many years. And Matt has done just an amazing job fixing up the property and opening a really great restaurant. If you've not been there, it's really good. But I'm definitely in support of him getting his beer permit. As many have said, he's already got his liquor license. We've had no issues in the neighborhood. as someone who lives nearby, I have no concerns about any negative things that might happen by getting a beer permit. I don't think there are any, so I'm speaking in support of him today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Trey Walker. Live at 1306A Pillow Street, 37203. Just like Laura, I'm also a neighbor. Live within walking distance of Smoking Thighs. Really enjoy being able to walk there. It's a great restaurant. As a member of the neighborhood group, we have monthly meetings. He has attended every one in the last year, speaking about the progress of the restoration of the restaurant and the improvements that he's making, which it does look fantastic. And on all these meetings, we've opened up for any comments or suggestions. He's been open to them. He's been willing to discuss with anyone who may have a differing opinion, and I support this exemption.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is David Flaherty. I live at 2011 Sadler Avenue, and I've only known Matt for a few months that he's been open. We are not longtime friends, but in the short time that I have been able to meet him, I felt as if he instantly was an integral part of the community. Opening this restaurant and rehabbing the building that was there and being open to inviting everyone just to come over and say hello, whether it be just to meet him or to order food or what have you, has been refreshing. And what he's done with that area has been refreshing. So I'm in support of anything in general that supports him and his business. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Colby Sledge. I live at 614 Moore Avenue. I'm in support of this permit because, as has been mentioned before, the owner has been extremely involved in the community even before his doors were open, months before his doors were open. He's been speaking with neighbors. He's gone around to basically anyone and everyone in order to both address concerns and promote his business. And so I think he's done a great job in wanting to be an asset to our neighborhood. That property has not always been an asset to the neighborhood, and it's had a lot of kind of contentious business failures, honestly, in the last few years, and just to see his success in just the last few months has been very, very encouraging. I'm hopeful that he's going to be a pillar of our neighborhood for years to come, and I really hope that you'll support this proposal. Thanks.
Thank you. Those in opposition, please line up at the lectern if you wish to speak.
Okay, I'm property manager for Joe H. Evans Properties.
Could you please state your name and address?
My name is Brandon Evans. I live at 107 Woodland Court, Hendersonville, Tennessee.
Thank you.
37075. She owns the property at 1225 Meridian Street, and the business is on the corner, Douglas, 300 Douglas, 308, 306, 302, 304. I'm here to represent her. She opposes this. There's an elementary school right there on the corner of Douglas, and that's why she opposes it. So that's all I want to say.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Seeing no one else wishing to speak, the public hearing is closed. Councilmember Moore.
I move for approval with a brief comment.
We have a motion and a second. Councilmember Moore.
I just want to say, Mr. Carney did do what I requested, going and speaking to his neighbors about the restaurant, and we did have several meetings. I did host my district meeting there at Smoking Thighs Restaurant, and it has been, as I said, a blighted building. Used to be the old Judge Bean place, and if you wanted to go by this, not I'm marketing his place, but, it was very blighted, and for him to make those kind of changes in just that particular location has been really good. So again, I move for approval on this bill.
Councilman Baker, I need a Public Safety Committee report.
Sorry.
Public Safety Beer and Regulated Beverages approved, 3-4-0 against.
Thank you. We have a committee report. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. Next is RS 2015-1336, exempts Madeline located at 1224 Meridian Street from the minimum distance requirements for obtaining a beer permit. Councilmember Scott Davis.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'd like to open the public hearing, please.
Councilman Baker, could I have a committee report?
Public safety beer and regulated beverages deferred by rule.
Okay, thank you. Okay. I'd like to have a show of hands of those in support. Thank you. Please raise your hand if you're in opposition. Anyone in support wishing to speak, please line up at the lectern. Please state your name and address.
Mark Scotland, 488 Lamont Drive, 37216. I am the owner of Madeline Nashville, and we're putting this cafe and restaurant in at the corner of Douglas and Meridian with the full support of what, to my knowledge, was everyone in the neighborhood, which includes the principal of KIPP Academy, which is the middle school, I believe it is, across catty corner from us, as well as the owner of KIPP Nashville, the president of KIPP Nashville, who is also in favor of it. It's a restaurant, laundromat, and cafe. We're planning to stay open for breakfast primarily, and then through early evenings. And I guess that's all the background I really have. What we're looking for is an exemption for beer in this instance. And like I said, the school that is catty corner is actually in favor of this very avidly, which I suppose I didn't bring with me, but I certainly can produce as needed. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you very much. Anyone in opposition wishing to speak, please line up at the lectern.
As you can see, I spoke too soon last time here. I got here late, so now's the time I need to speak. My name is Brandon Evans. I live at 107 Woodland Court, Hendersonville, Tennessee, 37075. My grandmother, Joe H. Evans, I'm property manager for her, Joe H. Evans Properties. She owns a property, 1225 Meridian Street, and also the properties along Douglas. And she is in opposition. I'm here to represent her. She's in opposition to it. I have her letter of opposition here. Her view on it is that we're upgrading the property. She's upgraded the buildings along there, and since she's had ownership of it, and she doesn't feel like serving beer, alcohol will be good for the community, because there's an elementary school right across there, Douglas Avenue, and that, as you can see, if you've seen that school, it's been upgraded a lot, and you know, elementary school alcohol, I don't think it's a good thing. She doesn't think it's a good thing. So for them to get a beer permit, she's in opposition to that. So that's all I want to say.
Thank you very much. Seeing no one else wishing to speak, the public hearing is closed. Councilmember Scott Davis.
Thank you, Vice Mayor, and please forgive me. I'm going to close the public hearing with a brief explanation. I'm going to ask for a rule suspension, please.
Is there any objection to a suspension of the rule? This was deferred by rule, and so we need a suspension in order to consider it tonight. Seeing no objection, Councilmember Davis.
I want to thank the business owners, for coming out. And this corner was a revitalized corner. The council here, with the help of my fellow council members and the mayor's office, we have invested a lot in improving not just this building, but other buildings on the corner. And it's a revitalization, which I'm very proud of. My neighborhood is in full support of this project, and I'd like to move for approval. Thank you.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. Next, we are at bills on public hearing. The first one is BL 2014-985, changes .26 acres from R6 to SP zoning for property located at 1604 6th Avenue North to permit up to 4 residential units. Councilmember Gilmore.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Move to open the public hearing.
Please raise your hand if you're in support. Thank you. Please raise your hand if you're in opposition. Anyone in support wishing to speak, please line up at the lectern and state your name and address.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I'm Roy Dale, outside at 67 Stokely Lane in Old Hickory, and we're representing the applicant on this property. This is a very unique parcel with a very unique building. This building is being preserved, it's being added to, and it's going to create 4 residential units that are affordable units. This has been before the Planning Commission. It was recommended approved 8-0, and I would hope that y'all would concur with that recommendation of approval. Thank you.
Thank you. Those in opposition wishing to speak, please line up at the lectern. Seeing none, the public hearing is closed. Councilmember Gilmore.
Thank you. Move for approval.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2014-986 changes 9.89 acres from R15 to SP zoning for property located at 3939 Old Hickory Boulevard to permit up to 16 detached residential rental villas. Councilmember Hager.
Move to open public hearing.
Please raise your hand if you're in support. Please raise your hand if you're in opposition. Seeing no one in opposition, does anyone in support wish to speak? Seeing none, the public hearing is closed. Councilmember Hager.
Committee report. Or did I just go and move for approval?
Move for approval.
Move for approval.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes.
Thank you.
BL 2014-987 changes 2.21 acres from IWD to CS zoning for properties located at 501 and 511 Royal Parkway. Councilmember Claiborne.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Would you open the public hearing, please?
Please raise your hand if you're in support. Thank you. Please raise your hand if you're in opposition. Seeing no one in opposition, does anyone in support wish to speak? Seeing none, the public hearing is closed. Councilmember Claiborne.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I move for approval.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2014-988 changes .71 acres from RM20 to SP zoning for properties located at 1212 Hawkins Street and 1119 and 1121 Sigler Street, and to permit up to 19 multifamily units. Councilmember Gilmore.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Move to open the public hearing.
Please raise your hand if you're in support. Thank you. Please raise your hand if you're in opposition. Seeing no one in opposition, I'm sorry, thank you. Anyone in support wishing to speak, please line up at the lectern.
My name is Bill Ruff. I live at 236 Bramerton Court in Franklin. I've owned this property for 14 years. Spent a lot of time in the neighborhood and talking to the neighborhood associations about how to develop this land, gone through a year's worth of meetings and different designs, and have come up with something that the neighborhood's been very supportive of. We're through Planning Commission and had people at the Planning Commission from the Neighborhood Association to support it, and they didn't need to be there because there wasn't any opposition to it. So I hope you'll approve it.
Thank you. Those in opposition wishing to speak, please line up at the lectern. Seeing none, the public hearing is closed. Councilmember Gilmore.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'd like to move for approval with a brief comment.
Have a motion and a second. Councilmember Gilmore.
Thank you. I just wanted to publicly thank Mr. Ruff for his cooperation. As he stated, he did work with the Neighborhood Association, and I appreciate the Neighborhood Association as well, because I know he had come with a different set of ideas, and they were both, between the neighbor and the neighbors and the developers, able to collaborate, and I think we've come up with a wonderful project. So I just wanted to thank him publicly for that, and also the Neighborhood Association. So I move for approval.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2014-989 changes .42 acres from RS5 to SP zoning for properties located at 1219 and 1222 North 5th Street to permit up to 7 dwelling units. Councilmember Scott Davis.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. I'd like to open the public hearing.
Please raise your hand if you're in support. Please raise your hand if you're in opposition. Seeing no one in opposition, does anyone in support wish to speak? Seeing none, the public hearing is closed. Councilmember Scott Davis.
Yes, I'd like to close the public hearing.
It's closed.
And I'd like to also move for a two-meeting deferral.
We have a motion and a second for a two-meeting deferral. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The deferral passes. We're now at the point for items on our consent agenda, consent resolutions. I will read the ones that are, and you can tell me if any need to be pulled. Currently, the only one not on the consent agenda is the very first one, RS 2014-1316, that was deferred by rule. 337 through 1337 through 1347 are on the consent agenda. RS 2015-1337 approves an application for a public art challenge grant from the Bloomberg Philanthropies to the Metro Arts Commission for the Thrive Micro-Funding Program. 1338 authorizes the Director of Public Property to exercise an option to purchase 10 acres of property at 4529 Nolensville Pike for benefit of the Metro Nashville Public Schools. 1339 approves an application for assistance to firefighters grant from the U.S. Department of Homeland Security to the Metro Nashville Fire Department to provide firefighter safety and survival training. 1340 approves a second amendment to a grant from the State Department of Health to the Metro Board of Health to provide school-based oral disease prevention services for children that qualify for TennCare. 1341 approves a resident training agreement between Metro Board of Health and Meharry Medical College to provide a wide range of clinical experiences to students in accordance with the Department of Family and Community Medicine. 1342 approves an intergovernmental agreement between the State Department of Health and Metro Board of Health to establish the Tennessee Joint Information Center to be activated on an as-needed basis whenever multidisciplinary operations are required. 1343 confirms the appointment of Randy Goodman to the Board of Directors of the Convention Center Authority. 1344 authorizes the Department of Law to compromise and settle the personal injury claim of Michelle Adams against Metro government in the amount of $22,000. 1345 approves the election of certain notaries public for Davidson County. 1346 honors the life of our good friend Robert Korzenzet. 1347 recognizes January 19th through 23rd, 2015 as the No Name Calling Week from a week across the United States. Do any of these need to be pulled? Seeing none, I will need committee reports. Councilmember Pridemore.
Budget and Finance voted 13-4-0 against on the following bills: 2015-1337, 1338, 1339, 1340, and 1344.
Thank you. Councilmember Moore.
Education Committee voted 4 in favor, 0 against. I move for approval.
On which one?
Oh, I'm sorry. RS 2015-1338.
Thank you. Councilmember Gilmore.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Health, Hospitals, and Social Service Committee voted on resolutions 2015-1340, 3 in favor and 0 against, 1341, 4 in favor and 0 against, and 1342, 5 in favor and 0 against.
Thank you. Councilmember Hunt.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Planning, Zoning, and Historical Committee voted to approve 1338, 10-4-0 against.
Thank you. Councilmember Baker.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Public Safety Bill, regulated beverages approved 1339, 3 in favor, 0 against.
Councilmember Stein.
The Rules Committee voted 7-4, none against on 1343, 1345, 1346, and 1347, and I move approval of the consent agenda.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. We will now go back to the one that is not on the consent agenda. RS 2014-1316 appropriates $100,000 from the undesignated fund balance of the general fund of the General Services District to Neighborhoods Resource Center to provide funding for its operations. Councilmember Scott Davis.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I will defer by rule, but also I will ask for a suspension or to defer it further if I can.
Councilmember Pridemore, could you give us a committee report?
Budget and Finance voted 13-4-0 against to defer by rule.
Thank you. Councilmember Davis. Do you want to defer more than one meeting?
Yes, ma'am.
He can do that. Yeah. Is there any objection? Seeing none.
I'd like to defer for 2 meetings to get information to council and also to work a few things out. Thank you.
We have a motion and a second for a 2-meeting deferral. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. We're now at bills on introduction and first reading. Are there any of those that need to be pulled? Seeing none, is there a motion for their approval? We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. We have a late filed resolution. Councilmember Banks.
Thank you, Vice Mayor.
The emergency.
Sure. I would like to ask for a suspension of the rules to address, have a property at Church Street in Cloverland that's in my district. In order for us to do all the necessary options and close the property and have it on public hearing by February 3rd, we need to hear it tonight.
Any objection? Seeing none, it changes 17.58 acres from R40 to SP zoning for various properties located along Church Street East, Valley View Road, and Cloverland Drive to permit up to 78 single-family residential units. Councilmember Banks.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Move approval.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. We're now at bills on second reading. Without objection, we will take 909 and 951 together. BL 2014-909 amends the Metro Zoning Code pertaining to short-term rental property. BL 2014-951 amends the Metro Code pertaining to short-term rental property. Councilmember Allen.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Committee reports, please.
Councilmember Dow. Councilmember Dow.
We voted for a 2-meeting deferral, 3-4-0 against.
Thank you. Councilmember Banks.
My apologies, Vice Mayor. My committee, Convention and Tourism, moved to defer 2 meetings, 5-4-0 against.
Thank you, Councilmember Allen.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Thank you, committee chairs. I would like to vote for request a 2-meeting deferral. I've got a few more details that need to be worked out and would like to bring it up again February 3rd.
Great. Have a motion and a second. All in favor of the deferral, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2014-990 amends the Metro Code to modify the eligibility requirements of the Small Business Economic Development Incentive Grant Program. Councilmember Maynard.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Committee reports, please.
Councilmember Pridemore.
Budget and Finance voted 13-4-0 against.
Councilmember Maynard.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I move for approval with a brief explanation.
Have a motion and a second. Councilman Maynard.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Several councilpersons last year had a desire to provide legislation that would provide economic incentive to small businesses in order to create jobs and also to make sure that our small businesses, which are the economic engine to our community, are sustainable and successful. So we did a pilot program last year working with the economic development team with Matt Wilshire, also our Director of Finance, and the Mayor's Office. We work with small businesses in order to qualify for grants to create jobs. After talking with several small businesses, we found out that there's some ways that we can improve this legislation that we passed last year so that more small businesses could qualify for the grants. Specifically, two major issues that we address in this amendment. And one is that many small businesses said it was just too much to guarantee that they would hire at least 20 employees in a 12-month period. And that if we put it at 10, more small businesses will qualify for these grants and be successful. The second point is that current legislation states that every job has to pay at a minimum at least almost $43,000, which is 100% of the median income for Nashville. Many of the small businesses said that was just way too high. And so based on the recommendation that we talked to small businesses, we want to reduce that to about $33,000. So we're doing two things with this legislation. One, we're reducing the number of employees that they have to hire from 20 to 10, and we're reducing the salary that they have to pay, minimum salary, from $44,000 to approximately $33,000. I'm asking all the council, we voted for it unanimously last time. I hope that we will do the same again this time, because all we're simply trying to do is allow more small businesses to qualify for these grants. And my last statement, Vice Mayor, it is very proud that this legislation allows for us to pay veterans that are coming back from our wars, pay companies rather, $750 per veteran that they hire. And that is important for those of us who've served in the armed services. I think it's important as our soldiers come back who want jobs and want to succeed in their transition from serving our country to coming into the private sector. I just think this is great legislation, something that this council can be proud of. Thank you, Vice Mayor.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2014-991 amends the Metro Code provisions pertaining to the minimum wage contractors on Metro projects must pay and the payroll information that must be retained. Councilmember Banks.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Committee reports.
Councilmember Pridemore.
Budget and Finance voted 13-4-0 against.
Councilmember Weiner.
Personnel, Public Information, Human Relations, and Housing voted 3-4-0 against.
Thank you. Councilmember Banks.
I'd like to move approval with a very brief explanation.
Have a motion and a second.
Thank you. Council members, just want to make sure everybody understands that this is some housekeeping that we're trying to do for our wage standards here, particularly with contracts and construction work. We are trying to get in lockstep with the state law that prohibits right now anyone from paying wages in excess of the Tennessee Wages Occupational Report. Right now we're under the Davis-Bacon Act, so we're pulling this into line with state law.
Councilmember Maynard.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'd like to explain my request for suspension of the rules for a late filed amendment it's a friendly amendment to the legislation.
Okay.
I was under belief that we could amend this bill on third reading, found out that we cannot amend it on third reading, received several calls from several small businesses concerning the 5-day window where small businesses will have to report. They stated that that would be a lot for them to do because many small businesses do not have an HR department, and so I'm asking for a suspension of the rules so we can extend it from 5 days to 30 days for reporting for businesses that have less than 100 employees. So my motion is to suspend the rules.
Is there any objection to a suspension of the rules? Seeing none, Councilmember Maynard.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'd like to offer my friendly amendment that will change the reporting deadline from 5 days to 30 days for any small business or employer who has less than 100 employees.
We have a motion and a second. Councilmember Claiborne, you wish to speak on the amendment? Okay.
I just ask whomever, is this amendment in keeping with the state law? Is it within the guidelines of the state law?
Yes, the state law does not cover
the reporting requirements. This is just the enforcement aspect of the bill to ensure that the contractors are paying the wages that they're supposed to be paying. So yeah, this is not in conflict with the state law.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the amendment. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The amendment passes. Councilmember Banks.
All right, again, I want to make a motion for approval.
We have a motion and a second on the bill as amended. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. Next is BL 2014-992, amends the Metro Code pertaining to noise from construction sites. Councilmember Gilmore.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Committee report, please.
Councilmember Dow.
Thank you. Coles Fair and Farmers Market voted 4-0 against in favor of deferring this legislation for 2 meetings.
Thank you. Councilmember Gilmore.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I move to defer for 2 meetings with a brief comment.
We have a motion and a second. Councilmember Gilmore.
Thank you so much. I think the noise issue is a really serious and significant issue downtown. We will continue to work it out. I do want the council members to understand, because of the way that the downtown code is zoned for residents that live downtown, even though they're using it for residential, they are exempted from the noise ordinance, also in Midtown and also in Sobro. So construction can happen 24 hours. It has happened in some of these areas 24 hours. However, I'm open to many suggestions and working on the bill. So if any of you have some suggestions, I'm more than open to it. We're going to have a meeting Thursday at 2 p.m. and I look forward to having more discussion about it, because I think as the city continues to grow and we want more people to move downtown, we will have to look at these issues. And maybe it's not as simple as this bill, but please know that I'm open, and I hope that you will continue to work with me and support me in improving the quality of life for the area, for the residents that live in that area. And also, Councilwoman Weiner has already offered up some, it looks like some positive things that will help to improve the bill. So with that, I move to defer for 2 meetings, and I do ask for your support, though, when I come back with the bill. Thank you so much, Vice Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Langs, do you wish to speak on the deferral?
Yes, Councilmember Gilmore said a meeting at 2. Could she say where it's located, please, the meeting?
Sure. The meeting, I apologize about that. The meeting is at the Hyatt at a Korean Veterans Boulevard, and it's at 2 p.m. on Thursday. And it's going to be 1 hour. So this is one of many meetings. So with that, I renew my motion. I think everything got passed, and she just wanted more clarity. So right. Thursday, 2 p.m., 1 hour, no more. All right, thank you.
All in favor of the deferral, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2014-993 amends the Metro Code to adopt regulations for low-speed vehicles. Councilmember Anthony Davis.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Committee reports.
Councilmember Pridemore.
Budget and Finance voted 13-4-0 against.
Councilmember Banks.
Convention Tourism approved 5-4-0 against.
Councilmember Anthony Davis.
Public Works approved 5-4-0 against, and
well, I'm sorry,
there might be one more.
Councilmember Harrison.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Traffic and Parking approved this 6-4-0 against.
Thank you. Councilmember Anthony Davis.
Public Works, we approved 5-4-0 against, and with all committees approving, I'd like to move approval.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Councilmember Bedney, did you wish to speak?
Thank you. We discussed a little bit about this at the committee meeting. I just want to make sure that we have enough people to enforce the new regulation, and that we measure somehow. I don't know if this is a question that we need to ask for Mr. Ribling or who's going to be, that when we pass new legislation that we have enough people to enforce that such legislation without detriment of the suburban districts in the need of enforcement.
Mr. Cooper.
Billy Fields, the director of the Transportation Licensing Commission, yesterday in the committee said that the primary enforcement mechanism for this would be the police department. The police department had expressed some concerns about these vehicles and the fact that they are not regulated at all, and the police officers don't really know or didn't really know how to handle them. And so this will provide some regulations, safety regulations, speed regulations. And so the police officers that are working downtown currently would be the ones to enforce it if they saw any violations.
Thank you. Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2014-994 authorizes the acquisition and acceptance of additional right-of-way, slope easements, and temporary construction easements necessary for the planned extension of Division Street to connect with the Music Row, Vanderbilt, Belmont, Midtown Gulch areas with Sobro area, Fulton Campus, and Rolling Mill Hill. Councilmember Gilmore.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Committee reports, please.
Councilmember Hunt.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Planning and Zoning approved Bill 994, 10-4-0 against.
Councilmember Anthony Davis.
Thank you. Public Works approved and recommended 4-4-0 against with 1 not voting.
Councilmember Pridemore.
Fooled me. Budget Finance voted 13-4-0 against.
Thank you. Councilmember Gilmore.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I move for approval.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2014-995 authorizes the acquisition of temporary and permanent utility easements relating to the installation of a new 8-inch water main from Brando Road to Hoggett Ford Road and approves the form of a financing agreement and amends the Metro Code to allow for the financing agreement. Councilmember Stanley.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Committee reports, please.
Councilmember Hunt.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Planning and Zoning approved Bill 995, 10-4-0 against.
Councilmember Anthony Davis.
Thank you. Public Works approved 5-4-0 against.
Councilmember Pridemore.
Budget and Finance voted 13-4-0 against.
Councilmember Stanley.
Thank you. I move approval.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2014-996 adopts the Geographic Information System Street and Alley Centerline Layer as the official street and alley acceptance and maintenance record for Metro government. Councilmember Anthony Davis.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Committee reports.
Councilmember Hunt.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Planning and Zoning approved Bill 996, 10-4-0 against.
Councilmember Anthony Davis.
And Public Works approved 5-4-0 against, and I'd ask for approval.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2014-997 abandons the previously retained water and sewer easement rights for properties located at 1701 and 1707 Broadway and 115 17th Avenue South. Councilmember Gilmore.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Committee reports, please.
Councilmember Hunt.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Planning and Zoning approved Bill 997, 10-4-0 against.
Councilmember Anthony Davis.
Thank you. Public Works approved 5-4-0 against.
Councilmember Pridemore.
Thank you. Budget and Finance vote 13-4-0 against.
Thank you. Councilmember Gilmore.
Thank you. I move for approval.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2014-881 changes .20 acres from RS5 to RM20A zoning for property at 1223 North 6th Street. Councilmember Scott Davis.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'd like to ask for a suspension of the rules to bring forward a friendly amendment which will be changing from RM20 to RM15.
Is there any objection? Seeing no objection, go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'd like to move for approval with the amendment. I'd like to move for approval of the amendment, please.
We have a motion and a second on the amendment. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. Councilmember Davis.
I'd like to move the bill as amended with a brief explanation.
We have a motion and a second. Councilman Davis.
we are moving, the neighbors came together with the developer, and it took a little while, but everything was worked out. The developer agreed to go down from 4 units to 3 units. That's why we're having this change, because of the agreement between the neighbors and that developer. And there were other minor changes that the developer will be doing also to accommodate those neighbors. And thank you for, and I'd like to move the bill as approved.
Bill as amended.
Actually, it's in the form of a substitute.
On the bill as substituted. We approved the substitute. Now we're moving the bill as substituted. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2014-896 changes 238.26 acres from RS5 to SP zoning for various properties located along Arrington Street, Berry Street, Cleveland Street, Douglas Avenue, Evanston Avenue, Joseph Street, Lachey Avenue, Meridian Street, Montgomery Avenue, North 2nd Avenue, North 5th Street, North 6th Street, North 7th Street, North 8th Street, Pinnook Avenue, Richardson Avenue, Steinbach Avenue, Stockel Street, Trutland Avenue, Vaughn Street, and Vernon Winfrey Avenue, south of Douglas Avenue, to allow detached accessory dwelling units with all other standards of the RS5 district being applicable. Councilmember Scott Davis.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'd like to move for 1 meeting deferral, please.
I need a committee report from Councilmember Hunt.
I apologize, Councilman Hunt. Thank you, Vice Mayor. Planning and Zoning approved Bill 896, a 1 meeting deferral by a margin of 10-0.
Thank you. Councilmember Scott Davis.
I apologize, Councilman Hunt. Okay. I'd like to move the bill. I'm sorry. I would like to defer this bill for 1 meeting.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor of a 1 meeting deferral, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2014-944 changes 3.23 acres from SP to MULA zoning for property located at 1170 Dickerson Pike. Councilmember Perdue.
Yes, ma'am. I'd like a committee report, please.
Councilmember Hunt.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Planning and Zoning approved Bill 944, 10-4-0 against.
Councilmember Perdue.
I'd like to move approval.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2014-962 authorizes Renaissance Bank to install, construct, and maintain an underground encroachment for an irrigation line to serve plantings along 19th Avenue North that are located within the right-of-way of 1820 West End Avenue. Councilmember Langster.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. With all committees having reported, I'd like to move with a brief comment.
Have a motion and a second. Councilmember Langster.
Thank you. I'd like to thank all parties concerned. We had to hold up the bill for 1 meeting, but we all came together, placed the items on the table, and with the help of Joni Priest, we were able to get correct understanding. With that, I move for approval. Thank you.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2014-963 authorizes the Director of Public Property to accept and record an easement for parcels of property for use in the Gulch Greenway system. Councilmember Gilmore.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. With all committee reports in, I move for approval.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2014-964 abandons easement rights that were previously retained with a portion of the former right-of-way of Harcum Avenue for properties located at 1127A and 1127B Belvedere Drive. Councilmember Anthony Davis.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'd like to move for final approval.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2014-965 accepts permanent and temporary easements for the Whites Creek Pike Stormwater Improvement Project for properties located along Whites Creek Pike, Mormons Arm Road, and Malta Drive. Councilmember Harrison.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I can't recall if the committee has reported on this or not.
All are in. They're all in.
All in. Okay, I move for approval.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. Without objection, we can take BL 966 through 972 together. Seeing none, BL 2014-966 abandons retained easement rights that were previously retained within a former right-of-way of 50th Avenue North on property located at 4910 Indiana Avenue. 967 abandons 560 linear feet of existing 6-inch public water main and accepts 293 linear feet of 8-inch public water main, along with one fire hydrant assembly, 311 feet of 10-inch public sewer main, and 2 new manholes for properties located at 24 Charlotte Avenue and 407 23rd Avenue North. 968 abandons 50 linear feet of existing 8-inch public sewer main and a 50-foot prescriptive easement and accepts 2 sewer manholes for property located at 5519 Kentucky Avenue and Kentucky Avenue unnumbered. 969 abandons easement rights that were previously retained with the former right-of-way of 50th Avenue North on property located at 5001 Kentucky Avenue. 970 abandons easement rights that were previously retained with a portion of the former right-of-way of 57th Avenue North on property located at 5615 Tennessee Avenue. 971 accepts permanent and temporary easements for the Hill Road Circle Stormwater Improvement Project for properties located at 5424, 5429, 5433, and 5440 Hill Road Circle. 972 accepts permanent and temporary easements for the Fleetwood Drive Stormwater Improvement Projects for properties located at 6504 and 6505 Fleetwood Drive and 816 and 822 Hillwood Boulevard. Councilmember Baker.
Thank you very much, Vice Mayor. Move approval.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2014-973 accepts permanent and temporary easements for Westwood Stormwater Improvement Project for properties located at 2106 and 2108 Woodlawn Drive and 2117, 2119, 2121, 2123, 2124, and 2125 Westwood Avenue. Councilmember Allen.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Move for approval.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2014-974 accepts permanent and temporary easements for the Tarragon Trail Stormwater Improvement Project for properties located at 4820, 4821, and 4825 Tarragon Trail. Councilmember Dominy.
Excuse me, Vice Mayor. Pardon me. The committee reports are all in. I move approval.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2014-974 accepts permanent and temporary easements for the Tarragon Trail. I wanted you to do it again, Councilman Dominy. 2114-975 abandons 10 linear feet of existing 8-inch public sewer main along with 10 feet of existing easement and accepts 1 new public sewer manhole and 2 public fire hydrants for properties located at 725 and 731 Mill Park Drive, 2350 Franklin Pike, and 700 Craighead Street. Councilmember Moore.
With all committee reports in, I move for approval.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2014-976 accepts 34 linear feet of 8-inch DIP water main, including one fire hydrant assembly for property located at 605 8th Avenue South. Councilmember Gilmore.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. With all committee reports in, I move for approval.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2014-977 acquires permanent easements for the Davidson and Brook Hollow Sewer Line Improvement Projects for property located at 612 and 622 Davidson Drive and 615, 619, 623, and 627 Georgetown Drive. Councilmember Evans.
With all committee reports in, I move approval.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2014-979 accepts permanent and temporary drainage easements for the realignment of 1,000 linear feet of 8-inch water main and pressure reducing valve for properties located at 20 and 22 Infrared Drive, 30 and 31 Hillcrest Heights Drive, 4400 and 4405 Carlton Court, and 3 Kenilworth Drive. Councilmember Todd. Councilmember Todd.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Move approval.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2014-980 abandons and relocates 582 linear feet of 10-inch DIP sewer force main and 398 linear feet of 10-inch DIP sewer force main, accepts 1153 linear feet of an 8-inch DIP water main, 655 linear feet of a 6-inch DIP water main, and 2 fire hydrant assemblies, accepts 335 linear feet of 10-inch DIP sanitary sewer, 170 linear feet of 10-inch PVC sanitary sewers, 782 linear feet of 8-inch DIP sanitary sewer, and 375 linear feet of 8-inch PVC sanitary sewer for properties located on Dodson Chapel Road unnumbered and Hoggett Ford Road unnumbered. Councilmember Stanley.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Move approval.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2014-981 authorizes Carian Apartments, LLC to install, construct, and maintain 2 underground encroachments in the right-of-way of 4th Avenue North and Jefferson Street. Councilmember Gilmore.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. All committee reports are in, and I move for approval.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2014-982 abandons a portion of Burn Street and Van Buren Street right-of-way. Councilmember Gilmore.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. With all committee reports in, I move for approval.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2014-983 abandons a portion of an unnamed road right-of-way. Councilmember Claiborne.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. All committees have considered this and approved, so I move for approval.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. BL 2014-984 abandons a portion of right-of-way of the Farnsworth Drive. Councilmember Evans.
With all committee reports in, I move approval.
Have a motion. Are you wanting to speak on this? Okay. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes. Council. Okay. Do you wish to speak on the bill, or do you just? Councilmember Langster.
Thank you. Could I be recognized on a moment of personal privilege, please? Thank you. On today, Mrs. Violet Nicholas, she is 103 years of age, and we wish her a very happy birthday. Thank you.
Okay, Councilmember Gilmore.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. A point of personal privilege as well. I just wanted to recognize Chief Anderson for his commitment to peacefully gather. I don't know if people have been following, but the letter that he sent out, it actually went national, and everybody commended him because we did not have the cases and the incidents that we had all across the country. So I just wanted to commend him for that. Thank you so much for making Nashville look good. Thank you.
Is there a motion to adjourn? All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Was everybody asleep tonight? Apparently, no.